Howdy. For the record, Wednesday, March 25th. Uh, God, we're only, 24 hours, less than that? 24 hours away from first Sweet 16 games.
Yeah, I went a little buck wild on the second chance brackets, to be honest.
You used all 25 slots, I'm sure.
Not yet. Not yet. I did 5 in like 4 minutes and then was like, alright, let me chill for a couple days. Make some more.
What, which of the games really, I'm looking at the slate, at least for tomorrow. What kind of calls to you at the moment?
Be honest, St. John's.
Ooh.
So, St. John's Duke. I think that's a big game. Um, Alabama proving that even with their second guy out, they're still here to make a run. Um, and then sneaky number 11, Texas, being the lowest seed to get in. I think they have a chance for some heartbreak, at least for the other team, rather.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll jump into the college stuff first, but we did our annual tradition of having the kids fill it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I go onto my ESPN and I have them like move to one side of the room or the other for who they want to pick for each game. And it was an interesting thing. I mean, they see the seeding numbers. Some of the kids like don't care about basketball, just went with whoever the higher seed was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're like, oh, Duke, I know that school name, or let's go. Or one time I went on vacation to Texas, let's go for Texas. It's stuff like that. But the funny ones that always get me, uh, here's the men's. The funny ones that always get me are the kids who like lock onto one school. What was it last year, 2 years ago, and Drake was in it? They all just.
Mm-hmm.
I had two classes pick Drake to win the whole thing. Like, what guys would be? Well, I really like him as a rapper. So here are the men's picks. Again, I got six classes. So Duke was picked in three of them. I have one that picked Arizona, one that picked Michigan, and I have to give Caleb a shout out. He got the entire class to pick Arkansas
Okay.
because he's a big Arkansas fan. Uh,
And I mean, Arkansas's not a bad pick there.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't awful. And then for the women's side, I had four of them picked UConn, one picked South Carolina, and then that same class that picked Arkansas also picked Texas.
Okay.
So they were definitely going a little crazy with theirs. But I said, hey man, I said if there's any crazy upsets, you guys are probably in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, debating like what the win whatever classes will win a prize, and uh, majority are really into it this year, and we'll have to see. We have a. I'll have to take a picture and send it to you tomorrow. We're doing like tape on the wall with all the schools.
Mm-hmm.
It's like physically they can go and track every single game. Now, obviously, with stuff like this, there's games Thursday, Friday. So by the time they come in Monday, we're down to the final four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So yeah,
Yeah.
16.
Yeah. Yeah.
16 is tomorrow, let's say, and then Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, by the time you come in Monday. So God, it's funny. It feels like it takes so long, and then it goes by so quick.
Mm-hmm.
But then we'll have a whole other week, right, before Final Four. But yeah, so that's the college basketball stuff, man. If I had to put money on it, I got Duke and UConn still, but Duke looked a
Vulnerable.
little shaky. Yeah.
A little shaky there in their last matchup. So.
I don't know if we talked about it last time, but Siena didn't use a sub until the last 2 minutes of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kept
It,
all five guys out there the entire time.
that makes me think like it goes back to the thing I was saying. I don't know. Did I ask you about the 16 seed NBA player?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the question that's kind of been floating around the last couple of days. How many current NBA players could you drop right now as like an adult onto a 16 seed and they could go on to win the tournament?
I mean, probably a lot. I mean,
My
like
number's probably like
any
20
NBA
guys.
player.
Yeah, it was just them.
I
It was
mean,
just one guy.
I think you throw like an Austin Reeves on a team, and they go and stand a good shot at winning it all.
You even double teams. I mean, again, it's a 16 seed, so you're not. I think the number's probably like 20 to 25 guys.
I mean, I think it's easily like NBA first and second team. You could throw
Yeah, and then
any of
and
those
then I
guys
would
on there.
go some big guys as well because I feel like you can make more of an impact.
Fair.
Like you could almost like scheme traps and sets and try to like play around point guards and shooting guards. But if you have a big guy that you don't have a side, like they're kids. Like you're not covering Jokic. He's scoring 60 points a game.
I mean, we could go each NBA team and go down the roster and like
Pull up
see how many guys.
the All NBA. Because I think you're right. I do think it's all right. So here's 24-25. I got the top three teams here. Obviously, Giannis, Shea, Jokic, Tatum, Donovan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Curry, Evan Mobley, Jalen Brunson, LeBron, Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
I think you're fine. Cade Cunningham, Cat, Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Williams, James Harden.
Yeah. Okay,
Which
Giannis with
would
James Harden, but
yeah, but he maybe for like another year or two.
okay,
But I would say he's on the edge of it. But then like guys that aren't even on Kevin Durant
for sure.
for sure. Devin Booker,
Yep.
Kawhi,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis.
Mm, Prime Anthony
Again,
Davis,
I'd say
yes.
maybe another year or two.
Yeah, Prime Anthony Davis for sure.
Luca.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I'm way off at 20 then. Maybe we're talking like 30 to 40 guys.
That's what I'm thinking. Like this is the best of the best, and while some teams are like trash, like I think you could throw Lamelo on there, and they stand a good chance of winning it all.
Yeah, you could probably make a blanket statement and say like the superstar from each team,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe a couple teams like a second guy. Uh, I do start it starts to get a little murky. Again, you're talking about you got to win what is it 5 or 6 games in a row. If you're a 16 seed, you got to beat the 1 seed first game. Then potentially it opens up because then you would get a 8 or 9, then a 4, then you win your region, then you're in the final four, then you're in the championship. So yeah, it is a gauntlet for sure. You're also talking NBA guys that it's 2 games in 3 days. So like Embiid is out. It wouldn't work. He would be hurt by the second weekend. LeBron, I appreciate his longevity, but could he do those minutes? And also, you're probably not subbing this guy out
No.
because as soon
Well,
as you do, you're down 20 because you are a 16 seed.
mm-hmm. Fair.
Anyways, I might have been was it Austin Reeves? I don't know. It was somebody who was talking about it, a current NBA player on a podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, the number's probably higher than you think, just
Yeah.
because they're all good." But yeah, that is an interesting challenge.
I mean, you see videos
Um,
of, like who was it, Caruso, in
it
the
might have been actually. I think it was Alex Caruso who was talking about it.
open, yeah, like open gym, just playing ball in the off season, and how he's
Yeah,
just cooking up these guys that go to the gym regularly to ball. Like it'd be the equivalent of that. Like it's just such a higher tier of skill and expertise to the game that it's not even close.
no. Um, but yeah, anything else you got on college ball?
Nope.
All right. Well, I have one. Oh, actually, I have one last thing on. Since we're on the topic of college ball, I've got two last things. Did you happen to see the obviously UNC coach got fired,
Mm-hmm.
um, which that's going to be a desirable job. But did you happen to see the Maryland women's coach for her little rant, her coaching rant at one of her players that went viral?
She was like, I mean, she was digging in that player like pretty heftily. But what I saw was they like lip read and basically figured out what she said, and then the player
Hmm.
at the press conference afterwards was saying, I love being coached, because that's what that was. That was nothing personal. That was coaching in the moment,
Yeah.
and it's fiery and it's passionate. Um, but I believe the coach said something along the lines of, after the rant, was like, "I believe in you, but you have to go like take this,"
Yeah, it's your
or
story, not mine. Yeah.
exactly. And I think that rounds the whole thing out. Like, I think as a fan in the stands, you look at that and you're like, oh shit, like that coach is a hothead. Like they're just yelling at the players, and it's like, no, they're coaching the players.
Well, the two things came out. One, a quote from the player, who basically she told the story that she's transferred from Duke. One of her very first conversations at practice, she told the coach, "Don't tell me what I want to hear. I want to be coached hard. Like I want to be elite. Push me."
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, so that kind of if I'm a coach, that gives me the green light to be like, okay, like if you want that, then let's do it. But then I guess after the game, um, yeah, player said interaction that wasn't the first time she's done that. She really tested me. Coach sent a text and apologized like that night. I was just like, hey, what's it say? Sorry for yelling at you so hard. However, I do love being able to coach you hard. I want it all for you. Player responded, Coach, I know you know I can take it. I always embrace you hard coaching me. Places I want to go, I need it. And like, oh my gosh, I loved that.
Yes.
And it blew my mind the amount of people that were like, well, she's pushing too hard.
Like, maybe for you,
Well, yeah.
maybe for you.
I just think that like that's like it's like a personality thing. Like she might be able to take that, but the girl next to her, who is on the same team and might just be as good, that might not be her style.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, so hey, kudos to the coach. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was thing one, and they're not in anymore. They're having lost, but that would have been fun to see if they had stayed in. Um, last one. Your Wildcats.
Hmm.
Your Kentucky Wildcats. We have to briefly touch on it because I read a number that made me upset. And wins and losses, right? You can't. There's no way you can predict them. It happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, I would say they're blue blood school, especially for the men's side. They have a couple national titles, have some all-star NBA alumni. Get blown out by Iowa State, which I believe was their biggest tournament loss since the 70s,
Yikes.
which was bad. And then I read how much their roster costs for NIL. And would be basketball what, 12 guys on a roster? 11 guys on a roster? Something like
Maybe.
that.
Yeah.
What do you think I'm going to use the word salary, but it's not. What do you think their roster cost them?
Can you give me like a ballpark?
No,
Like, no.
because I would never. Again, you're thinking college, NIL. Even the biggest guys in college are getting a couple million,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously it's not everybody's on big money.
So Kentucky will put in, I don't know, 28, 30 mil.
22 million.
Okay, so it's a little over.
One of the more expensive rosters in the country. And here's the one thing I have. The only issue I have is you're now going to look at that like they're a salary cap basketball team. Like that's now you're going to have to compare, hey, how much money are you putting into it with how much success it is. It's no longer just, oh well, we'll try again next year. Like coaches are going to get less time, players are going to get less time because now you're looking at a price tag.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I appreciate players getting paid, I do. This is a natural consequence of that because that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, especially in basketball where you have so many one and dones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know if you're going to get this guy back next year. If he has some breakout season, you guys,
Yeah.
whatever. do well in the tournament, get to the tournament, exit in round 2 or Sweet 16 or whatever, they're gone. They're on to bigger, better things. Um, so is it worth that? Especially with this unsuccessful streak they've had in the big dance.
Yeah, I mean, you lose Cal, right? And I think, it was a fine breakup. What was that, 2 years ago now? But you look at Cal, who took an Arkansas team that was nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and they're making tournament runs. They have fantastic freshmen. Like, he's clearly taken his success and the the secret sauce he had for Kentucky, and he's just put it somewhere else, and it's working. And then Kentucky, that had all these years of success, are, like you said, floundering in games that they shouldn't be losing by. I think it was 19 points, which is crazy in a college
Yeah.
game. But it goes. I was reading a piece that was talking about their athletic budget, and like the big mega, like Texas, Ohio State annual budget's over $300 million for athletics, which is bonkers. And like quotes from the Kentucky AD that are like, "We want to be next. Like we need to grow to that." And I'm like, dude, it's a business now.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it always was. I'm a kid myself, but now they're gonna start looking at like, hey, do we need to start recruiting even earlier than high school seniors or high school juniors or high school sophomores and start throwing bags at them? Because to your point, guys gonna come for what, 1 year and leave? Like that doesn't help you either.
No.
But yeah, that's to see them lose and then to read about the price tag and then to hear it. Oh no, we just need to throw more bags of money at the program. Something doesn't add up there.
Hmm. I know we lost, but we're not spending enough. That's why.
Yeah. Um. All right. I have one, two, three doors for you. I've got football, I've got baseball, and I've got basketball, all professional. Which one would you want to start with?
Let's knock out baseball.
uh, quick, I will say. But obviously, baseball season starts tonight. Yankees are playing the Giants.
Mm-hmm. Up
I
7-0.
think, yeah. Well, I was seeing that. I think I want to stick with the Mariners, but the Yankees do look good. I got to give them credit. Um, but Netflix is where the game is tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and interesting that they're trying to get into live sports. Obviously, I know they've had the Christmas or the Thanksgiving. No, they have Christmas this year, right?
Maybe.
For football,
I know Amazon had Thanksgiving. I don't
Amazon
know
had
about
Black
Christmas.
Amazon had Black Friday.
Oh, okay.
I think Christmas was Netflix, but are we entering that next stage of Hulu's gonna have a game, Netflix is gonna have a game, Prime's gonna have a game, and it's just gonna be back to the you gotta buy it all.
Yeah. Hopefully not, but that's what it's looking like. Because, like, what if you want to go to the bar? Does the bar have to buy Netflix
I
for
hadn't even thought about that.
the one game a
One
week of
game that's
baseball?
on,
And the
you're probably just not putting it on,
I mean, yeah.
right? I mean, if you're in Tampa, you're just probably putting on the local game. That's the one thing I will say is with blackout rules, like if you live in what I think the game's in San Fran, if you live in San Fran, you should be able to just put on your local news.
Yeah.
But not if I want to watch. If I live in New York, my favorite team's the Rays. I can't watch local to go and catch them, so it's a mess. But yeah, tonight first opening game, regular season for everybody else opens up on Thursday. Mets are 1 o'clock first pitch against the Pirates, and I'm optimistic. Didn't make the playoffs last year, but we uh, we overhauled a lot. A lot of like fan favorite guys gone, barring a lot of like either new guys that are looking to prove themselves or guys that had a down year but historically were good. That'll be part of my check-in because I dude, I get the season pass every year to watch all the games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mess with baseball season. Um, but yes, that was door number one. I've got football and I got basketball for you.
I do have a quick question on baseball. I
Hit me.
saw um, just an article today of this ump who is like worried about the new ABS,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just wanted to get your thoughts on the cameras watching the strike zone.
So here's I'm gonna tie it back into soccer, shocker. But when VAR was introduced, you're familiar with VAR,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So video assisted refereeing or replays. When that was introduced into soccer, it was a mess because they hadn't figured out like, okay, if you're offsides, but you're offsides by a millimeter, can the camera detect that? Like, do we have the technology? And it was no. So I believe they used 10 millimeters was like their accuracy range. So if you're within that, your call is correct. But if you're 11 meters offsides, okay, you're offsides.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of brought up this debate of like, well, technically, if you're going letter of the law, if you are a fraction off, you're offsides.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's 1 millimeter or 11. And that they just didn't have the means to correct it, change it, and update everybody. So it was a rough period. I think 2018 World Cup was the first like big push for it, but we're now 8 years in, and there are still changes every year, and we're trying to make the right decisions. Of hey, well, we got oh so many calls wrong last year, so let's try to correct them. So I take it with a grain of salt for baseball. I know that they trialed it the past couple of years in minor leagues to varying degrees of success, but will there be some calls that are wrong? It's going to happen. It is. So, or some calls that they think are going to be correct, but somebody on Twitter is going to say, "Oh, actually, it's incorrect. I was there."
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's good for the game because do you remember Angel Hernandez? Do you know that name?
Mm-hmm.
He was a famous umpire, just retired recently, 2 years ago maybe. But he was like a I'm going to use the word hot-headed. He was like a fiery personality as an umpire, and he was very, very infamous for getting some games completely wrong. Just the strike zone, balls and strikes. He would toss managers, and that was an example of like referees had all the power, umpires hold all the power. If
Mm-hmm.
you're behind the plate, no one's gonna check you. If you call a strike, there's no instant replay. It's a strike. And now you're kind of removing that. I'm going to use the word bias, but you're removing that human element a little bit to say, well, technically in baseball, here is the zone.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make it into the zone. I'm okay with that. Right? Basketball, the same thing. When now that they're doing these challenges and replays, if you touched it last, it's my ball.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave it up to a referee to make the decision. Run the tape. You touched it last, it's my ball. Now, again, the objective of they're going to get balls and strikes. I think you get a set number of challenges. I don't know all the rules that they're doing for this year, but there will be players. And here's the other thing: is I was reading an article about Juan Soto with it. Soto knows his strike zone like abnormally well. Like one of the better players in the league. He just knows in his brain where that box is, and oh no, that was actually a ball. And like, he would try to do it in years past. Be like, no, that's a ball. And the umpire's like, no, it's a strike. He'd be like, well, I'll show you it was a ball. So when the Mets were doing like practice games and working on the ABS system, he'd be the first one to be like, nope, that was wrong. Go ahead and call
Mm-hmm.
it. Go ahead and check it. And I think you're going to see a shift to some of these players that like know their strike zone so well. That's going to be like a plus for some of them. That's a reason for me to get a contract from somebody because I know my strike zone well. So if I'm a fraction off, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna say, no, no,
Yeah.
that was a ball.
I'm winning most of my challenges here.
Exactly. But it'll be interesting. I know that the Yankees, somebody used it tonight, so it officially got its like kickoff in the first game. But I think it's good for sports to get those calls right, as long as they do it quickly, which I know is something that they're trying to do. But we'll see. we'll see like tomorrow, Friday, first weekend of games. You're gonna see the first like news story of, oh well, they got it wrong and it cost this team a win, and it'll take some time. But yeah, I don't know if that answered your question or not.
No, yeah, no, literally just getting thoughts on it. Because like the first thing I knew you were going to do soccer,
Yeah,
tennis,
tennis is that's a
right?
great example
That's a big one. And then they're
because
using
it's
it
in or it's
now
out.
for football. And I know I brought up the ACC how they like tune you into the control center where they're looking at all the different angles, and then they're like, all right, camera 3, field camera
Oh, I
4,
haven't seen
like
that.
here.
That's cool.
So that yeah, the ACC football games, whenever there's a call that goes up for review, and you're watching on the ACC network or ESPN or what have you, they'll patch the viewers in to the control center where they have the other refs. I forget where the location is, but you see them. They've got like the 12 TVs on the thing,
Hmm.
and they're watching all the different camera angles for that play. And they'll be like, okay, cut off camera 3. Like that's not a good shot. Well, we're looking at cameras 4 and cameras 5, and then field camera 6. Like
I think
boom,
that's cool.
and then they're all talking to each other, like Roger that, like I see possession here, okay, we've got possession confirmed, okay, now did he make a football move? And all of them look at it from the different angles and confirm, all right, yeah, football move, so the call is going to be blank, and then it cuts to the ref on the field and he relays what they're saying, and it's just not it's
I think that's great.
transparent for the
Yeah,
fans
that's a
watching at
great
home.
report.
Yeah.
I know that when VAR was first getting started, like there were some leagues now, like the MLS does it, and I think England is starting it, is it this year. But like now when there's a VAR decision, like they have to announce it to the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here's what happened. This player, blah 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 blah. But there's been like videos that England has started to do this year. Australia did it for a couple years already, where they'll post it like, okay, game happens on a Saturday. By Monday morning, they'll post the video of all the audio
Oh, of
between
the
between the referees at the booth, the referee on the field. Here's the call. Here's what happened. To your point, transparency. The one thing that I can't stand with football is the, oh well, I think the ball was on this hash mark, but actually I'm going to bump it up 6 inches. Oh, it's a first down. I that to me, that's the human element that kind of, well, was where was he down?
mm-hmm.
How far did the ball go? All of that is exact. It's fact. It's not an opinion. So that sort of thing, I don't know. I know people are like a purist about it, and they're like, no, well, it should all be human because the human element. And but then you see I don't know if you saw the news story today, like the NFL referees are potentially striking.
Dang.
Like they couldn't come to an agreement, so they're at a bypass right now. So there's technically gonna, or there could potentially be replacement referees again, which was awful. But technically it shouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't matter if it's me or you refereeing. As long as I know the rules and we know what we're doing, like there shouldn't be any difference. A rule is a rule. You got to follow it. That's a flag. That's not a flag. So the last thing I'll bring up on the NFL, the opening week schedule came out.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to see this?
Think I saw Seattle has to play on Wednesday.
Seattle's playing on a Wednesday, but they have not announced who they're playing against yet. So they're going to play an NBC and Peacock game, 8:20 on Wednesday, with the Melbourne, Australia game happening Thursday night, Eastern time. That's San Fran and LA. Um, and it'll be September 9th. So it'll be after Labor Day.
Okay.
So Wednesday opener, Thursday Australia game, and then you'll get which I guess for them is a Friday game, right? Because they're ahead, I think. But yeah, so that'd be interesting. Well, Wednesday night football, because I'm sure after that happens, then the NFL's going to say, "Cool, every Wednesday we're doing football,
We're monopolizing the week.
the whole week." All right, well let's. I have one more football take for you,
Mm-hmm.
and it revolves around our Team USA flag football team.
Ooh, I did peek at a little bit of this.
So that was this past weekend. Yeah, they did the Fanatics Flag Football Classic in LA, and it was kind of like a teaser, right? These aren't what the rosters are going to be, but this was a kind of a teaser for what flag football would look like with these pros.
Mm-hmm.
It was in LA. Games are going to be in LA in 2 years, and there were three games. Team USA won combined scores 106-44. Yeah, one of the teams um, was co-captained by Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, coached by Kyle Shanahan,
Mm-hmm.
which is wild. And the other team was Tom Brady, coached by Sean Payton. And I'm interested. I'm very interested. And Brady, there was a quote from Brady afterwards. He said, "Hey, uh, we were trying to make more NFL plays and pass concepts. Things just happened pretty quickly out there. Those guys are super shifty. They did a good job running the ball. In terms of strategy, we're probably way behind."
Probably.
I mean, fair, right? It's hard to be upset. But, like, here were the other players. Um, because, well, technically, again, they're using the International Federation of American Football rules. So the penalties were completely different. So they said that the penalties were nonstop against the pros. But here were your linebackers: Luke Kuechly, Von Miller, a combined age of 100, against like current pro players for Team USA. Um, One of their wide receivers was DeAndre Hopkins, again 40 years old. Um, oh, pff. And then oh, I don't know if you saw this too. The pro team had celebrities on it too. Logan Paul's flag.
Logan Paul,
Yeah.
I Show Speed.
Terrence Crawford, the boxer. Yeah. So I had two things were interesting. The big thing for me was I remember this conversation. We talked about this. I think it might have been early last year. Like, what does that roster look like? And don't get me wrong. Amazing for these guys who are pros. You represent Team USA. That's amazing at any level. There's going to be NFL guys that make the roster.
I would say so.
It's going to happen over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are going to be finishing their season, right? Let's say you don't make the playoffs. You're done first week of January. You're not going to training camp. You're going straight to flag. You're going to go to hanging out in shorts and going and learning the rule book and such and such. It wouldn't surprise me if there were guys that like were learning both, like a Patrick Mahomes or somebody else or Jaden Daniels as an example. Like you're working with your team, and then as soon as your season finishes, maybe this year, I'm going to a flag training camp if
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want to do to represent. Do I think that there will be Team USA guys that like from the current pros? Absolutely, they've been doing this forever. It's awesome for them. But I think they're kidding themselves. They don't think that the NFL guys are going to give them a run for roster spots. So we'll see. Rules are different. The game is different. You don't need, and that's. I was reading those names. Like you don't need a hard hitting Luke Kuechly
No.
or a Von Miller. It's a completely different style
Mm-hmm.
of defense. But again, I'm also thinking like my mind goes to okay, who built the rosters? Who turned it down? Who are you trying to make look good? Because if you're trying to prop up the pros, all right, you did a great job. If you want to give them the best team of potential NFL guys to play against them, that is not the roster I would have picked.
No.
So we'll see. That was my NFL thing, and I finished with a slew of basketball because a lot happened. The governors met this weekend. Um, there were some decisions made for the future, and also the roster standings are really starting to tighten up. With God, I think we're at the 10 games left. So here's what I have. We'll go standings first. Pistons did just lose though in overtime to the Hawks, which is awesome. Knicks are 4.5 out. Celtics are did win today, so they're 4 out of Detroit. Looking at between the 5 seed in the East and the 10 seed are only separated by 2.5 games.
Dang.
Yeah, with 9 games left. So it's tight, and these seedings and these matchups are really going to kind of lock in over the next week or so. West, same thing, really, from the 10 seed from Golden State to the 7th, those four playing teams, 5.5 games. And then from LA to Houston, so 3 to the 6 seed is only 3 games. So it's tight, but Oklahoma City, who had a double digit win streak, snapped. They lost to Boston tonight. And San Antonio is only 2.5 out. But the other news on the other side of the bracket are the bottom teams. Are you caught up with these teams at the bottom or no?
Not at all.
Okay. Here's what you got. West is lagging behind. Dallas 23 wins. Utah's 21 wins. Sacramento 19 wins. Then you have three Eastern Conference teams all vying for that top pick. Brooklyn 17 wins. Washington 16 wins. Indiana 16 wins. But here's what gets crazy. These teams, most of them, have had double-digit losing streaks within the last month or so. Sacramento had something like a dozen losses in a row. Indiana had something close to that, 15 or 16 losses in a row. Brooklyn's at 8 losses in a row. The Washington Wizards have lost 16 games in a row because they're tanking.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Adam Silver come out today? He says they want to fix the tanking problem. They're going to be changing the lottery starting next year. They voted on it this week to vote on the modification. So they haven't announced exactly what the changes are, but apparently they were all voted on and accepted. And I think it's going to drastically change how we see the bottom teams of each conference. This might be the last year that we have
Tanking.
quote unquote tanking. Yeah.
Hopefully, see a team finish the season full effort.
Yeah. Right. Because I'm not. It's so hard to root for a team, right? I'm even thinking like the Jets because football there is no weighted system, so it's just the worst team. So you're right. So I want to lose. Give me the one. Give me the one. Jets were one loss away from getting Mendoza, which kills me. But for basketball, I, you only have a 22% chance, whatever it is, and they're losing 16 games in a row. Bro, what? Imagine being a professional on that team. What do you think those halftime talks are like?
They're
Guys,
not.
guys, just give the ball up. We don't want to win. But uh, two other things that happened in these meetings was that the NBA are expanding.
I did see this. 2 new locations, both all voted and accepted on. Seattle and Vegas.
And Vegas, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, plans are going to be decided on by the end of this year, but that's what they're going to be exploring is for those two. So I don't know. I'm excited because I think that growth is good, right? The NBA's been talking about this for way too long, and the fact that it's finally starting to move is I think is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there were two things that came up, and one is how would the expansion address how would it change the league, right? Because we kind of talked about what does a draft look like, what is an expansion draft for them to be able to select some players, and here's what the current rules are. every existing NBA team would only be able to protect a minimum of 8 players. So that means that everybody else is available to be taken.
Hmm.
You can also not select players that are on expiring contracts, and I just think that it's going to get real funky with what the next year or two looks like. With like, do you want to sign guys to big deals? Do you want to let some of these guys who are on big contracts walk so that those guys are the ones who are taken? I don't know. It's let me see here. Yeah, it looks like they would be if they're following the same timeline as the WNBA. The two new teams would begin play in the 28-29 season. So you're still looking end of this season, then another season, then one more season, then they'd be there. But they also have to realign conferences. I mean, both Vegas and Seattle are going West Coast.
So like, the- just what, trade one over to the East?
I mean, yeah, but like, okay, let's pull up a map. If you're going off of like geography,
New
I mean, New
Orleans.
Orleans, um,
New Orleans and
Memphis.
Memphis. Those are really the two most eastern.
They've also said
Min-
Minneapolis.
Minnesota, yeah.
So one of those three ends up going east. I think New Orleans is the best pick because then you would just put them with Orlando, Miami, Atlanta,
Hmm.
and I guess Charlotte. I don't know. Yeah, but there's obviously some things that they have to figure out. Which now that the first hoop has been done with, they can start it. But I'm interested. Brings me to my last piece. There's an article here about what the potential names would be for these franchises.
It's got to go back to the Sonics.
Well,
Let it.
whoa. We'll start with Vegas.
Okay.
Do you have something that comes to mind? Because I got a list here.
Um. No, I'm really
Okay.
bad at this.
So the Las Vegas Jokers,
Okay, I like that.
the Blackjacks of Las Vegas.
I think I like Jokers a little more.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But the reason they were talking about doing that would be with the WNBA Aces. So you have the Aces and you have the Knights who are the Golden Knights of the NHL.
Hmm.
Blackjacks are basketball. Well, the Sharks
Yeah,
because of UNLV.
fair.
Yeah. Oasis. I don't like that one.
I mean, that kind of is what Vegas is, but
True. It does sound. I mean, it sounds cool. The Diamonds.
playing into the cards still.
Yeah. The Dealers.
I don't know if
No
we can use
chance.
that one. Yeah, I don't know if
No
we can
way.
use that one.
No chance. I think of all of those, I think I'd be leaning Blackjacks. I think that's cool. But clearly they went with uh, card themed, right?
Hmm.
I would imagine they're going to do something from the city. But the funny, I think it's if it's anything but the Supersonics, I think the NBA missed a big one.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's just gonna they're just rerun it, same colors,
Yep.
same logo,
Let
probably just
everyone
modernize the jerseys,
pull it out the chest and dust it off so we can wear the retro.
throwback night, opening night. I just hit my line. But yeah, I'm excited because I think that it was needed. I do think that like the MLS is still growing, WNBA is still growing, NWSL is still growing. Football's been locked for God, what two decades now? Not that they need it, but every league is always looking at more money.
Hmm.
So that's that's what I got though. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. I was looking at the only other thing that really caught my eye was not Joe Burrow. Bengals signed Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Yep. And he was saying,
Thoughts?
um, I mean, given Joe Burrow's injury report, definitely need a guy on board. And for what it's worth, when we threw him in, it was a whole hell of a lot better than Jake Browning. So, I mean, the guy was putting
Yeah,
up mad fantasy numbers. So if you've got to have a backup, then
he was putting those numbers up because you were there. That's what happened.
yeah, yep, yep. We'll go back for the Joe Flacco home games.
Yeah, he's kind of just like he's kind of just earned this awesome backup badge, right? Even if he's 40, 41 this year,
Mm-hmm.
even if he's not good, you still feel good about him being your backup. If Burrow goes down, you're not freaking out about making a trade. You're, well, Flacco can get us 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to win 10 games this year, but he knows the system. He can do enough. You got enough weapons. It's Incy, right? Um, yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's good. I'm happy for you guys. He's kind of just a fan favorite at this point,
Mm-hmm.
wherever he goes. Oh no, the last thing I did see is I don't know. I don't know if we talked about the Waddle trade, but Jalen Waddle got traded to Denver, and with them losing Tyreek, then Waddle going, and Tua leaving, and their coach leaving, then you sign Malik Willis, who's played what 6 professional games. I worry for what that Miami team's going to look like next year. And that was a team that were they ever going to win the division? No, but that for a couple years in a row, that team was like high powered, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
offensive guys, A Chain, Tyreek, Hill, Waddle, and Tua, plus a cool young hip coach that was quirky. Like there was something there, and now they are bottom of the barrel. Like that roster needs time, and you need some really high draft picks, and they don't have it. So I'm not upset. I mean, great
Yeah.
team that could be below us. What? Um, but we'll see. Um, I think that's all I got on me. Let's see what our trivia question of the day
Let's
is.
see.
I've got. Oh, here you go. This is a good one. Most recent winner of the Wooden Award. So this is college basketball.
Okay.
So NCAA. Most recent men's player to win both the Wooden Award and the NCAA championship that year.
Ooh.
Here, yeah, that's toughy. Here are your four potentials: Cooper Flag, Zach Edey, Anthony Davis, Jalen Brunson.
Um, Anthony Davis on Kentucky. I think they did win maybe once or twice while he was there. Did Brunson ever win a championship? Yeah, let's go Brunson.
It was Brunson. That was that Villanova team that also had Bridges, also had Josh Hart.
Mm-hmm.
They're the one who beat UNC. And Villanova won it, I think, twice in 3 years. But yeah, tricky because Zach Edey, Purdue didn't win it, and then Cooper Flag didn't win it last year,
Yep.
national title. But here's the craziest thing: So they're double crown. So only 7 players since 1977 have won it. Both. So National Player of the Year and title. That's crazy to me. And Brunson was guy that was 2016, 20 yeah 16, 17. So it's been a minute,
Yeah,
but we'll see. Maybe if Duke wins it this year, I don't know. Boozer,
could be on the route to claim that.
we'll see. But anyways, we are now on TikTok. We are Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, the whole gamut. Um, Let us know how your bracket's doing or how busted it is. And I guess when we come back, we'll have our final four teams on both sides.
Yes, sir.
So until next week,
All right, take it easy.
see you.